I want to talk about some esoteric topics, and in particular, I want to talk about anarchy because I discovered that I'm an anarchist. Like, I didn't know this about myself until I was 40 years old. And I've really only embraced it as a label because I'm real hesitant to put labels on myself about anything. Like, philosophy wise, anything really. Like, truth, something that I think is the absolute truth because I've been wrong so many times, which is a part of life, you know, and the openness to being wrong is a good part of the experience of life because you can get out of the traps if you're open to being wrong. So I'm completely open to being wrong. And I could be wrong about anarchy, but I really don't think I am. And I am embracing the label. But I want to talk about what that means, like, particularly for me, because a lot of people have an idea of what anarchy is, and it would definitely not mesh with exactly where I'm coming from with it. So, in order for me to communicate um, what I have to say about it, I have to have a starting point where everybody's on the same page with the definition. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to even go a little further beyond anarchy and say I am a natural law anarchist because there's all these different type of anarchy, like, communities, right? And I don't really even belong to a community, so to speak. It's a concept that I believe other people are on board with as far as how they're interacting with anarchy, like Mark Passio. I don't think he's ever put a label like I'm a natural law anarchist. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what he would be, and that's what I would be. And let me just explain it real quick. It, in the universe, there are laws of the universe. And really, there are 7 principles of the universe that the universe operates on. I'm reading a chat. I might have to put my glasses back on. I guess I'll have to deal with that glare. Drama weed. You know it. Being wrong is always a gift, in my opinion. Hey, man. Thanks for coming by and supporting me. However brief that might be, it means a lot to me, and I am looking forward to one day, because we are so close to each other, like, logistically speaking, meeting up, writing songs, just becoming a part of each other's lives. Why not? You know, I've got a family, um, similar to your family. You know that I've got 2 sons with autism. I believe you have, um, a, you know, Lowell's girl's teenager. I believe I heard he has autism. So we have a lot in common as far as being, you know, dads. So even if you're not, I imagine even if you guys aren't married yet, or if you plan on getting married, or however that's going, I'm sure you already have those fatherly um, instincts towards those boys. Her boy. I'm not sure if she has 1 or 2. I can't remember. But yeah, there's so we have some things in common: music, philosophy. I mean, I'm sure we have a lot of differences in philosophy, but I think that we have a lot of similarities as well. Um, we're both trying to help other people um, empower themselves and understand who they are. And that's one of the most important things to me, and I know it's one of the most important things to you. Otherwise, rant jams wouldn't even exist. That's the first thing you did, was step out as rant jams and empower other people with what they're doing, and that speaks volumes. And I think definitely it's definitely shown me that you're somebody I would like to know um, beyond the internet. So if we can make that happen, that'd be cool. I'm gonna take these back off now. So I'm gonna get back to what I was explaining about anarchy and my viewpoints on it. So anarchy for me has to align with natural law and these 7 principles that make up the 8th principle, which is the generative principle. And right now I am in the midst of writing a poem. I'm writing a poem every day this year, and I'm publishing them on these platforms called Cent and Steemit, which are cryptocurrency based. So that way, people can interact with my content. If they choose to tip me, they can. If they choose to upvote me, they can. Then I'll earn a little cryptocurrency for my content because, see, I don't have a big audience, and I'm not really trying to get like a big audience in a conventional way. I just can't be driven in that way. I don't think I would be successful anyway, so it'd be a big waste of time. For who I am, it just wouldn't work for me. So I'm kind of going about it a different way than a lot of other people. And so these cryptocurrency platforms kind of lend me, um, first off, a group of people that are a little more open minded, because anyone using cryptocurrency is a little more open minded. And that helps me kind of narrow the field, so to speak. So, and it's also fun to post on platforms where you can earn cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies in general are really fun. The whole space is really cool. I would highly suggest people looking into it. That's why I call myself a crypto bard, because you know it's. I definitely would love to move away from the fiat dollar. Um, right now, I am a truck driver, so that's how I make the money to support my family. But who's to say in the future I couldn't be a crypto bard, somebody on social media, somebody that interacts out in the public and does their art, which mine is songwriting, poetry, and fiction, um, as well as I might get into writing some screenplays and such, and I'm also an actor. Um, and these are things that I don't really get to express on the level that I dream about, that I envision as the possibilities of manifesting into my life, where when I wake up each day I'm doing something I really love and want to be doing. Instead I'm spending a lot of time in a truck, um, doing somebody else's thing, making money for somebody else. I'm getting by, getting my family by, and it's the right thing to be doing for where I'm at in life, for the people in my life. But it's also, not my dreams. So me being on social media like this is about me trying to manifest my vision. Because if I can manifest my vision and have commercial success with my creativity, the world will open up. And because the world will open up, I'll be able to bless other people a lot more. Um, the way I'm blessing other people right now is awesome, and it's good. And if that's all that this life becomes for me, I'm happy with that, I'm blessing my children, I'm blessing my wife, um, I'm blessing those I encounter by having, a positive attitude and showing love in all sorts of situations. And that means something. But if I were to actually have resources, whew, the skies are the limits. I could enact my philosophies. And my philosophies are powerful. I'm going to be sharing them because that's where it starts, right? People getting to know me. People understanding that I'm for real when it comes to all this stuff. I'm not just giving some kind of verbal thing out there. Like, this is inside of me. It's got to come out. There's no stopping it. So, anarchy is, in my opinion, the best way for human beings to operate on this earth. And people try to bring the concept down by interjecting all these scenarios that are fear-based. And you know what? That's a rational way to go about thinking about anarchy, because you do want to find the holes in it, right? If you just act like it's the miracle answer for how humans can interact, you're doing it a disservice, in my opinion. You got to look at it from a practical standpoint. But a lot of times these fear-based reactionary ways that people automatically discount anarchy, they keep it from even coming to mainstream conversation enough to find out if it is actually a practical thing that could work with humans. And I believe it is. So what I'm going to be doing is interacting and talking about ways that it's practical and it's not meant to promote chaos and disorder, lawlessness, because it's about natural law, the real law, not the fake law, not the laws that can change from state to state to state to state. You know, not the ones that say you can smoke marijuana here, but you go a mile over the border here and you smoke the same joint that you were hitting on one side, walking from one side to the other. There's a trooper sitting on the other side, he could pick you up and haul you off, throw you in jail. Not those kind of laws. Those man-made, constructed laws that we think are okay because we've been brainwashed to think that if it's something that's manifested through our democratic system, then you know it's lawful and right, and it's because we're glorifying government. We're creating a god of government. That's really what we're doing, and that's why I need to talk about anarchy, because anarchy is the opposite. All it means is no archons. Archons are constructs of hierarchy, and that's all an archon is in its simplest form. Anything that you put above the human being as an authority over the human being, that creates a slave of the human being, and that's what's being done to us. So we accept it because we think it's the lesser of evils, right? But it's not, and we need to explore how it's not, and we need to explore how it could work, and we need to fully communicate that to people so that it can have its light. You know, everybody knows about communism, everybody knows about socialism, everybody knows about democracy. Not too many people know about true anarchy, natural law anarchy. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the years to come. This year I'm writing poetry, and right now I'm in the midst of defining and explaining the 7 core principles of Hermeticism, which is what brings about the 8th principle of the generative principle. So I'm 4 poems into it. Today is going to be my 5th poem. If you want to check out those poems, just look me up, Acoustic Stevo. I've changed the name of my channel to Human Patriot for a reason, but I'm not fully losing the moniker of Acoustic Stevo. So I'm Acoustic Stevo, but this channel's called Human Patriot because I've shifted. Acoustic Stevo has ascended beyond being a channel. Now he's a complete heavenly body out in the heavens. He's a being, you know. He's understood exactly what he's doing, and that's powerful in itself. So, because Acoustic Stevo is a fully understood being, he's able to do a lot more. So what I'm doing is I am creating right now poetry, but in the years to come I'm going to be writing essays, I'm going to be writing fiction, short stories. I've written some short stories. Look up Lambs of War, Stephen Martin. My name's spelled STEPHEN MARTIN. Google that, it will bring you to wherever I've posted. I posted it in a few different places. I have it on Amazon, so you can get it for your Kindle. It'll cost you $1. But you can also find it for free on the internet. Just Google it. So, yeah, I have some short stories. I'm just a creative being, so that's why I'm a bard. That's why I'm a crypto bard. Because I would love to get to the point where I didn't have to touch fiat currency at all. And it's all that day and age is almost here. It's close to manifesting to where I'll be able to carry around a card with all my crypto on it, and if I can get enough crypto off of my creativity to fill up that card with transitory cryptocurrencies and be able to buy whatever I need to sustain this physical being and sustain my family, which is a long ways coming. That's kind of a pipe dream at this point, but who knows? I'm working towards manifesting it into a reality. If I can do that to where I can transact in this world fully with cryptocurrency and not touch fiat at all, um, because it's kind of cool. And I didn't know this until early this year, but Ohio State accepts Bitcoin to pay your taxes. So who knows when the federal government will do that, the local governments will do that, and then I won't even have to touch fiat because I don't want to. I don't want to. It's a government um, thing ran by some private people that don't have my interests at heart, so I definitely don't want to even touch it. Working on that. That's part of anarchy, right? Getting away from what's horrible, going to something that's not as horrible. See, money itself, like the way that we transact with each other, that in itself is highly flawed. It definitely creates a being that is operational on not having instead of having. When we all really do have, if we just realize that we do have and we interacted in a way where we understand that we have, we understood that we can be haves and not have nots. So when we understand that, we might pretty soon, because there are going to be some people that are going to demonstrate some things coming onto the scene shortly. And I don't mean demonstrate some things for a small niche audience. I mean like on another level. Like I've already envisioned this. I already understand how this can happen. So once you understand how something can happen, usually it comes about. At least that's been my experience on this earth. So I think there's going to be some beings that start to demonstrate this stuff. If I had the resources, I would tomorrow or today start demonstrating it myself, but I don't. So I'm demonstrating it, but on such a low frequency that not a lot of people are going to see it. And myself, I've not fully been able to demonstrate it because I don't have the resources. But there are some people with the resources that can start demonstrating this stuff right now. They just haven't started doing it yet. But pretty soon, I think some people are going to decide they want to opt out of the satanic society and start living for their higher selves. And that's going to be very interesting. But to get back to natural law and anarchy, we have these seven hermetic principles, and I don't have them memorized. Part of me doing these poems is to kind of embed myself a little bit further with them as things, esoteric wisdom written on my heart so I can access them at any point in time. I'm getting there, studying them to that point where I can discuss them and be a lexicon of information for people regarding these things. But, so I'm not going to get into exactly what they are on this video, but I do want to explain their relation to natural law, which is man's law is not natural law. Anything outside of these seven hermetic principles that build upon each other and create the eighth principle are not even real for us to function under as in putting as authority over us. And the only reason why the natural laws are is because they're infallible. You can't circumvent them. They are laws of the universe that will exist, and there's nothing we can do about it. So they're the true laws that human beings can put themselves under. If you put yourself under these true laws and you operate as a being that only subjects themselves to natural law, you're truly free. And if you can help other people understand that this is the truth and the true way to live, then you are helping humanity. Because it takes a shift in human consciousness, not just individuals like me understanding. A lot more people than me need to understand this. Because the world only can manifest what is being put out there as a vibrational signal by the aggregate consciousness. Because we are all a part of each other. We're not separate. So the fact that people like me are manifesting right now, though, is a good sign that we can all get on the same page with this, or at least enough of us that we can totally shift human consciousness. And once we totally shift human consciousness, the sky's the limit as far as what we can create and as far as how we can live on the day-to-day. Like, truly be happy. Like, I'm truly happy living on the day-to-day, even as a slave. And I am a slave. So are all you. Anyone that pays taxes and is under government control to where you have to live your life according to man's law is a slave, period. So understanding that is a big step, because it doesn't mean that you accept it. You're like, oh, I'm a slave, this reality sucks. No, it just means that you accept the reality and you accept the power that you have within you that is a lot more powerful than that condition, because that condition is like a switch. All it takes is enough people deciding to flip the switch the other way, and none of us will be slaves, and that will be an overnight thing. So it's not that I'm a slave like as a being, it's that I've manifested into a place where this is the functionality of the human existence, because we have a group of black magicians that use subconscious manipulation to mind control everyone, and they embed everyone's subconscious minds from a very early age, where the programming is so strong that it's hard to get out of. And it's going to take people that understand this, like me and maybe you, hopefully you, because there needs to be a lot of us putting out a different signal and waking people up, not just with our words, but with our actions and our deeds, and taking every opportunity put in front of us every single day to break down lies. So what that means is, when somebody says something that's not true in front of you, you have to have the courage, the strength to expose how and why it's not true with your words, and be willing to take the repercussions of whatever programming is in that person manifesting right in front of you in possibly a very negative way. You have to be okay with that. And that's a lot. That's a lot. That could be stressful. So a part of choosing to do that is figuring out ways to give yourself some self-care so you can cope with that kind of stress, because it's not easy. That could be dealing with your spouse. That could be dealing with your kids. That could be dealing with your boss. Anyone that says something untrue, you might have to say, I don't think so, and here's why. You don't have to be a jerk about it. Some people are. Whatever, that's their methodology. Mine's not. It's not that I'm better. I'm just, I couldn't operate that way. So I just succinctly say things like, I don't think that's true, and here's why. And then I give my explanation, and I make it a good one. I make it count. It's a pretty easy way to go about it. So, natural law anarchy is about actually functioning as a peaceful person and living a good life that doesn't manifest a bunch of chaos and violence. Because if you're living under natural law, you're going to realize it's really one law as far as how to live under it, and that is, don't steal. Don't steal. And I learned this from Mark Passio, and it makes sense because you can apply it across the board, and it makes it very easy to explain to other people. So what can you steal? You can steal a lot of things. You can steal someone's life, so don't murder. That's an obvious one. You can steal someone's innocence, so don't subject your children to mind control brainwashing. That'd be a way to steal someone's innocence. There are a ton of ways you can steal from another being, steal something that they deserve to have and have peace with having. You can steal someone's property. Now, for me, this one's kind of fun to play around with, because I particularly ascribe to the esoteric knowledge of Christ Even though I don't believe Christ was an actual being, I believe he was created by a bunch of highly functioning mystics that created a story that was very, um, very good at delivering the actual way to go. You know, the way, the door, the way, the truth, and the life, that thing. So that Christ knowledge, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because I don't. And it's not that I disbelieve that Christ could have existed. It's that my common sense tells me, after all my research, and believe me, I did the research. I didn't just go, oh, this is an easy way for me to understand this, so I'm going to, like, glom onto this and project it out there as my belief. No. I've read a lot, and I've come to the conclusion in a very scientific way as to why I don't really think Christ even existed at all. There may have been a person, Jesus of Nazareth, but I don't even believe his story matches up to the gospel in any practical way, like to where you could associate it with the actual being that's in the gospel. And you know, there's a number of reasons why, and I'll probably get into some of that. I haven't, but I want to make sure when I do it in a good way, and it's not just me live streaming about it, because it deserves a conversation. That's a lot more than me just spouting out a bunch of stuff. Like, I'm going to probably make a documentary on it and break it down. Not because I want to destroy people's belief in Christianity per se, but I do want to open some minds. And I think it requires frank discussion of things in a way that doesn't let things slide. That really does address some things. You know, and I'm a very open-minded person. I'm very willing to hear new knowledge and very willing to be proven wrong. But I have done some decent amount of work into understanding why I believe the way that I believe. So I'm going to probably not anytime soon, because I've got a lot of things inside this noggin, a lot of things that I got to do. But that is one of the things I got to make a documentary on. Basically, why I believe that Jesus Christ didn't exist as in the gospel, you know, born from a virgin, all that. But also, the other side of that coin is why it doesn't matter, and why most of the things, not all, but most of the things that are in those gospels can be applied and are the way to live, are natural law. Just different iterations of esoteric wisdom that all amounts to do the right thing, live the right way. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul. I'm going to stop there for a second because I want to talk to this. When people, is just so people understand me. When I say the Lord your God, I don't mean anything but your creator. And I don't believe that I understand fully what that is. But one thing that I've come to kind of an understanding on is that we don't know if that creator is male or female or both. I happen to think it kind of makes sense that the creator is both male and female. Like there is an element, I don't know if it's a dualistic thing where it's just two sides of the coin, the male-female thing, but I definitely don't look to God as a male. I definitely don't. And I don't look to God as a female. I look to God as the creative force which has both genders in it. So that's when I talk about God, that's what I'm talking about. The creator of the universe that is both male and female, because that's what actually manifests, both male and female. And both have just as much right to the authority of being a being as the other. So I don't put them in a hierarchical way. So all the talk about Father and all that, whenever that happens, in my mind consciously, when I'm like, say I'm surrounded by Christians, which I am quite often, I make a little interjection in my own subconscious and conscious mind, that's not what I believe, and that's important. Doing that, calling that out inside. I don't have to call it out with my mouth and piss everyone off around me, but I definitely have to call it out with my spirit and my psychic mind. I have to project it out there so that the room that I'm in, it really doesn't matter if I open my mouth, because as soon as I psychically project out my ideas on that, people might not even know they're receiving it, but they are, because we are that powerful. We don't even understand how powerful we are, people. We don't understand. So in a room where people are spouting out all this father stuff, I am doing the opposite. I'm going creator, which is the same as father, mother, I don't know. Owning up to the I don't know of it, but owning up to the fact that male and female exists, and I truly don't believe there's a hierarchy between them. I don't believe the man's over the woman. Hell no. And I don't believe that's how it manifests out in the universe. Natural law would tell me otherwise. Because one of the tenets of natural law, one of these hermetic principles, is the principle of correspondence. It's the second one. And I wrote a poem on this if you want to go read it, but what it means is simple: as above, so below. So if we are below, and we're only like below, there's things below us, but if we are on a level right now where we're kind of, we have an above and a below, right? Above would be out into the heavens, authority, that would be above, right? Well, the only authority for me is natural law, but the below would be a number of things. The cells within my own body, a number of things. But when I look out at where I'm at now, to have an access point for the things that I want to look at as above and the things that I want to look at as below, there's male and female where I'm at. So that means as above, there's male and female. As below, there's male and female. So I think it's one of the things that helps the mind controllers is not talking to these things, not acknowledge them, and going along with the mass idea that God is male when God is not male. Otherwise, we would exist as all males, because as above, so below. We don't exist as all males. We exist as males and females and hermaphrodites and a lot of things, all right? So that means God is a lot of things as well. The creator, the above, the true above, the way above, is a lot of things. So we need to start understanding these things. But that's the thing about it, is because once you get the aggregate, the population, to understand the Hermetic principles and applying them to your life, doing the shadow work as an individual to overcome your shadow side and to understand your shadow side so you can overcome it and not to deny it, and to understand the subconscious mind and the programming that's been projected at your mind since you were a very small child, and understanding exactly where that programming is coming from and why you might have all this fear-based rationale to immediately reject things like anarchy, then you could start to heal. You could start to understand that you are powerful. There are psychic gifts we have that we are totally suppressed, and they definitely don't want us to understand that we have. And I'm even going to be working towards some of that, helping people see them, see the reality of them, because I do believe natural law is a scientific thing that can be proven. I believe that the spiritual laws of the universe can be proven scientifically by making hypotheses and doing experimentation. And it's not being done, and it's not being done for a reason, people. So I want to get involved in some of that, like making straight up experiments that are designed to prove these hermetic principles of natural law, so that people can, it's like Thomas, you know, Jesus had to put his hands out there and say, okay, you can put your fingers in my wounds. And he didn't give Thomas a hard time about it, right? So people out there, they need to see these things. They need to see that the Hermetic principles are real. The way to do that is to actually show them scientifically, which definitely can be done. We just need to do it. And once you do that, once you show people the laws of the universe, and they can't deny them, like logically with their brains, because it's been shown to them and it's been vetted scientifically, they don't really have a recourse to denying it. And once you don't have a recourse to denying the existence of so many things that fall under natural law, you'll start to understand as above, so below, and you'll start to understand the Hermetic principle that basically tells us why we live in a satanic society. And once you realize that you live in a satanic society, you realize that it's manifesting here because we've not allowed ourselves to live under natural law. We've put man as the authority, so we're living in slavery because that's how it's going to manifest if that's the system you set up. But all it is, like I said, is a switch. So as soon as enough people understand that, we can switch the switch the other way. We don't have to live this fear-based paradigm where we think that we need things like government-paid police officers to protect us. That's a total illusion that that's an actual need. And there are a lot of... I made a recent video on the shooter in Dayton, Ohio, which is where I live, and how it'd be very easy to glom on to the idea that police are a good thing because they stopped that mass shooting within 30 seconds, and a lot more people would have died, which is true and is an actual reality of the situation. But we were throwing the baby out with the bathwater again, as I alluded to earlier with the Gospels. We're doing it here in this situation as well, because what we're saying is that because the police were there and they were able to stop this fast, we need the police. But that's not true. There's a way for citizens, they'd be called warriors, to decide, the purveyors of whatever we decide to have, businesses, whatever, whatnot, they can directly pay for the services of these warriors if they think that their place needs warriors. Another way is for us all to become warriors. That's probably the best way. I'm in martial arts. I've got my kids in martial arts. We are becoming warriors so that we can be right and just. Because I'll tell you what, that's what's needed. We need to be able to protect ourselves. We need to be able to see our surroundings at all times. Fear-based life is not a way to live, people. It's not a way to live, and it's not a reason to reject the truth. So I'm gonna end this now. It's gone kind of long. I really didn't get a lot of interaction with live chat. Thanks, Rant Jams, for stopping by and showing me that it's working. Pointing out that I might have some audio issues. I'm gonna watch this stream back. I might have been roboting out because of some of the settings that I was fiddling around with. I'm hoping that's the case. But until next time, prepare to see some Acoustic Stevo streams here on my Human Patriot channel. Have a good one, everyone. I think I'm just going to leave this entire stream the way it is. I don't think I'm going to do much editing, although I might. We'll see.